They say that the worst kind of betrayal is the one you never saw coming. Well, I saw it coming, and I let it walk right into my house. My name's Mark. I used to be the kind of man who believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt, especially the woman I married, Sarah, my college sweetheart. We met in freshman year. She was the bright, beautiful journalism major. I was a broke business student with dreams and nothing else. For a while, we were perfect. 12 years later, we had a house in the suburbs, 2 kids, a golden retriever named Milo, and everything that looked like a happy marriage on paper. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the biggest lies were the prettiest smiles. It started small, changes that only someone deeply in love could notice. She started going to yoga on weekends, but her mat stayed dusty in the corner. She dressed nicer to run errands, started locking her phone, said she wanted space, and that she was just stressed. I tried to believe her. I really did. But doubt is like a splinter in the mind. And once it's there, it digs deeper until you can't think of anything else. One night, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while showering. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. I didn't even have to guess her passcode. It was still our wedding anniversary, 0721. That number felt like a punch in the gut when the screen lit up. Her messages with someone named A. Nothing graphic, just enough to gut me. Last night was amazing, she wrote. Miss your touch. Can't wait to see you again. Photos, selfies, smiles that weren't for me. I felt like the floor dropped out beneath me. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. You see, this is where most people go wrong. They find out they're being cheated on, and they explode. Rage, drama, fights, crying. And in the end, they lose more than they gain. I wanted to burn her world to the ground, but not with fire, with patience, with strategy, with precision. The setup, over the next 3 weeks, I played the perfect husband. I kissed her forehead in the morning, made coffee, took the kids to school, watched movies with her like nothing had changed. Meanwhile, I was building a case. I hired a private investigator named Collins. Older guy, ex-cop, the kind of man who could find a needle in a digital haystack. Within 10 days, he handed me everything. Names, dates, hotel receipts, photos, security footage. A was Anthony, a regional manager at her firm. Married, 2 kids. They'd been sneaking around for 6 months. Business trips, office hookups, even Valentine's Day, while I stayed home with our kids. But here's where it gets better. Anthony's wife, Denise, was a corporate lawyer. And unlike me, she wasn't emotional. When I called her anonymously and dropped the bomb, she didn't cry. She just said, "Thank you for the evidence. You'll hear from me again soon." I did. 3 days later, Denise emailed me, full of gratitude and a copy of the lawsuit she was preparing. Not only was she divorcing Anthony, but she was going after full custody, assets, and pressing for workplace misconduct. She invited me to coordinate efforts. Oh, I coordinated. The trap. I created a fake email, posed as a recruiter from another company. I contacted Sarah and offered her a dream job in another city with fake interviews, application forms, everything. Why? To keep her distracted. Make her think bigger things were ahead. Meanwhile, I went to work. I closed a joint account quietly, moved half the savings into a trust for the kids, paid off the mortgage from my personal account so she couldn't touch the house, and contacted a lawyer of my own. And then came the piece de resistance. Our 10th wedding anniversary. I told her I booked a weekend away, a beach house on the coast. She was thrilled. Told her boss she needed Friday off. Bought a new dress. Waxed. Did her hair. I packed the car. Loaded our favorite wine. Took the kids to my sister's. But we weren't going to the beach. We were going to a conference room in our lawyer's office. When she saw the folder on the table, labeled evidence of infidelity, her face went white, then red, then hollow. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Sarah sat across the conference table in stunned silence. Her hands, freshly manicured for a trip that would never happen, trembled slightly as she reached the folder. Inside were photos, time-stamped, clear, Her and Anthony kissing in the back of a rental car. Hotel invoices with matching check-in and check-out times. Restaurant receipts. Screen captures of text messages. I didn't say a word. I let the silence do the talking. Her lawyer, the one I had never met before, sat beside her, stone-faced. I had already spoken with him 2 days earlier. He was told the truth. He knew she was here under false pretenses. And he agreed that if she wanted to avoid public exposure and protect what little she had left, she'd play by my rules. This is ambush, she finally muttered. No, I said calmly. This is accountability. She tried to shift the blame. You've been distant, cold. This marriage hasn't worked for years. Yet you smiled in every family photo, slept in our bed, let me raise our children, while you snuck around with a married man. That shut her up. I slid the papers across the table. You're going to sign this agreement. No contest. No alimony. I keep the house. Joint custody. 50-50. But I retain primary residence for the kids. And you get what you came in with. Her lawyer whispered to her. She whispered back, visibly shaken. Her hand hovered above the pen. Or, I added, I go public. Your company gets a copy of the full file. Anthony's wife already filed for divorce. He's already been suspended pending investigation. If you want your firm to know what kind of PR nightmare they're nurturing in middle management, then by all means, refuse to sign. She signed. The fallout. Anthony was fired within a week. His wife, Denise, took him to court and won everything. The house, the kids, even his company car. He moved out of state, apparently tried to start fresh. I don't know if Sarah kept in touch with him, and I don't care. As for Sarah, the dream job she thought she had lined up never called back. She eventually figured it out, that it was a fake, that it was me. She called me in tears, begging, apologizing. I made a mistake, she whispered. No, I said, you made a choice. I wasn't done. The real revenge begins. I didn't want just a divorce. I wanted her to feel what I had felt. So I started talking. To everyone. Our mutual friends. They heard everything. I didn't add drama. I didn't embellish. I just let the facts speak for themselves. Slowly, people began distancing themselves from her. The weekly brunch group? She stopped getting invites. The parents from the school PTA? Suddenly too busy. My family, who once adored her, blocked her number. The worst part? Her parents. I didn't have to say a word to them. Her mother called me sobbing one night, apologizing for what her daughter had done, said she was ashamed. I told her I didn't blame them, that they raised a wonderful granddaughter and grandson, and I'd always make sure the kids knew their grandparents. But as for Sarah, that was up to her to rebuild. She tried to fight for more custody a year later, claimed she was more emotionally stable now. My lawyer laughed when he saw the paperwork. We presented the original case file to the judge, complete with updated notes about her disappearing for weekends without telling anyone. Case dismissed. A new chapter. Years have passed now. My kids are doing great. They live with me most of the time. Sarah still sees them, of course, and I never poison their minds against her. I need to. Kids see things. They understand more than we think. Me? I started dating again. Carefully. With walls, yes. But I'm healing. And Sarah? Last I heard, she's working 2 jobs. Still renting. Still chasing the validation she never found with Anthony or anyone else. She wanted more. She got less. That's not karma. That's consequence. And you want to know the best part? Every time I look in the mirror, I know I didn't stoop to her level. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten. I didn't destroy her physically. I just let her truth come to light. And that was enough to burn down everything she built on lies. 2 years passed. Life settled into something resembling peace. The kids were doing better than I ever could have hoped. Therapy helped. Structure helped. Love, real love, helped. I was no longer angry. No longer driven by vengeance. But then came that message. It was a quiet Thursday evening. I was finishing up dishes when my phone lit up. Unknown number. Just a text. Hey, Can we talk? It's important. S. I stared at it for a long time. She hadn't texted me in over 6 months. Everything between us had been strictly scheduling. School events, doctor appointments, birthday planning. Nothing personal. And now suddenly she wants to talk. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but a stronger part wanted closure. I replied, if this is about the kids, call. If it's personal, email. 10 minutes later, the email came. Her side of the story. She wrote like someone who had been holding their breath for a long, long time. Mark, I've thought about this for a while. Please don't delete this without reading. I've spent the last 2 years in hell. Not because of what you did, but because of what I did to myself, to us, to our kids. I ruined everything. For fantasy. For a man who made me feel like I mattered again. I was stupid. I was selfish. And I was cruel. When you didn't scream at me, when you didn't humiliate me publicly, it broke me. Because you had every right to, and you didn't. You let me fall on my own. You let me face the consequences. And now, 2 years later, I finally understand what I lost. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to want anything to do with me beyond the kids. But I wanted you to know, I regret it. All of it. And if I could go back to that night in the hotel, I'd have gone home instead. I hope you're happy now. I really do. I sat back in my chair and exhaled. There it was. Not an apology begging for a second chance. Not manipulation. Just truth. And for the first time since it all happened, I felt done. The final move. I wrote back the next morning. Sarah, thank you for your honesty. That's all I ever wanted. You're right. You did break us. But I rebuilt myself since then. The kids are happy and I'm at peace. I don't hate you. I just don't need you in my life anymore. But I will always support the relationship you have with our children. Be well. She didn't respond. She didn't need to. Epilogue. 3 years later. The kids are older now. My son's in high school. My daughter's thinking about college. We talk often about honesty, trust, and the weight of choices. I never told them everything, but I told them enough to help them grow. As for me, I met someone last year. It's still early, but different. She knows about Sarah. She knows about everything, and still chose to stay. That's worth more than she'll ever know. Sarah moved to another part of the city. She's working in social services now, ironically helping families in crisis. Life has a sense of humor, doesn't it? Sometimes people ask me, don't you wish you'd taken revenge? Ruined her publicly? Made her suffer? And I always say the same thing. I didn't need to destroy her. She did that all on her own. I just stepped back and let gravity finish what she started.